But yeah, welcome back to Mended, because we're on. I got Pug here. I don't even know your real fucking name. Oh yeah, Jason Thoms. Yeah, Jason Thoms. Yeah. So I got that. Okay. But everyone calls you Pug?
Everybody calls me Pug, yeah.
For how long?
So my birth name was Jason Puglisi.
So that's where Pug comes from?
That's where, and I was Pugsley, Pugga, you name it, all through Little League, basketball, BNBL, all that stuff, and Pug just stuck. And then in my mid-30s, I just made a decision to change my last name to my mother's maiden name because I grew up just her and I.
Yeah.
And I just felt more a part of that side of the family because all my uncles, aunts, cousins, they were all Thoms.
Yeah.
And I was like Audrey's troubled kid with the weird last name my whole life. And I just decided at 36 to change that. And I changed it for me, the wife, the kids.
Good for you.
And so it is complicated now explaining to people that I meet later in life as Jason Thoms, where Pug came from, but that's where it originated from.
Whatever, it's a good conversation starter. Yeah. Fuck it.
Here we go.
Anyway, so where were you raised?
I grew up in Hyde Park, specifically in the Georgetown Project. Shout out Georgetown. And we take a lot of pride that the kids that I grew up with in that general area, we're still very close. We follow each other on social media. We're super supportive of each other. It's a lot different now than it was when I grew up there. When I grew up, it was just so fun. It was, you go bang on the door and we all played sports. We did get in a lot of trouble, towards our teenage years. And that's where everyone kind of went their own separate directions. And I probably realistically got in more trouble than most at that point. And that's where my mother recognized that maybe there was a need for a change, and she bought a house in Dedham.
Okay.
And she tried to get me out of the city, out of Boston public schools and stuff like that in the middle of 8th grade to try to do that. But, I just gravitated towards the kids in Dedham.
Yeah, you were already stuck in your ways.
So the Dedham kids inherited a Hyde Park lunatic that was willing to do whatever.
How many of them did you take out?
There's a list. I got a resume. You can check it yourself.
Yeah, top tier recruiter.
Yeah. It was, but Dedham embraced me as family as well. And I'm still in the same general area where, Sprague Street goes through Hyde Park. My street is right off of Sprague. So I've been in that same general area my whole life. So Hyde Park, Rosendale, Dedham, West Roxbury, that same general area. The only time I relocated from there was my late wife was from Brockton. So at one point when my oldest daughter was young, I moved out there, and we lived in Brockton for 4 years.
How did you like Brockton? Dave's from that area.
Oh, shit. Shout out Brockton.
Well, he's from Plymouth area.
City of Champs, baby. Rocky Marciano.
Speaking of City of Champs, my boy Kevin Walsh from Brockton, undefeated. He's fighting Friday night on DAZN against Mick Conlon. He's going to shock the world and bring it back. King Kevin Walsh, Rockland Recovery. We sponsor Kevin.
Let's go. Where's he fighting?
He's fighting in Belfast, Ireland.
Where's that?
In Ireland.
Oh, in Ireland? I thought you said Belfast Island.
No.
Also wrong. It's in Northern Ireland.
What is?
Belfast. That's Northern Ireland.
Oh, I didn't say where that was from. I just said he's fighting in Belfast. And
it's in Ireland, yeah.
Yeah. In
Northern Ireland.
Yeah. Okay.
There we go.
Is it?
It's two different countries.
Oh. Ireland and Northern Ireland? Yeah. I didn't know that. Did you know that?
I do now. Thank you.
Leave it to Dave. He's a fucking
that's
dinosaur. He will school us on everything.
Bunch of loyalists up there.
Back to the main point of the story. My boy King Kevin Walsh, undefeated, is coming back undefeated with the belt. I got all the faith in the world in him. I've seen him fight a few times. I've got the opportunity to meet him personally, have a couple dinners with him, his mother, who's a great woman as well. And
anywhere you can watch this fight? Anywhere
it's on DAZN. It's on DAZN Friday, but I think there's a time change.
Yeah, time difference.
Dave, where we at? Is it 6 hours or 4 hours? He probably knows.
In Ireland, it's about 5 hour difference.
There we go. So I think it would probably be at 5 or 6 p.m. over here on DAZN, and it's going to be a serious fight. It's going to be a serious fight. I'm very excited for that. But I did live in Brockton for 4 or 5 years. It was fine. I lived right off the Westgate Mall exit. Her parents.
My grandmother lives there now, right off Westgate Mall.
right there.
Yeah.
Her parents still live there. So I lived on the same street as my in-laws, and they were super helpful. I had a nice apartment, 2-bedroom. You know, I was like 22. I had this beautiful woman. I had a beautiful daughter. I had a little pug puppy named Capone. He was my man. I just got in the Carpenters Union, brand new pickup truck. Things were good.
So anyway, we just had some technical difficulties. We had to stop for
I know where I was.
Go ahead.
So I was talking about like resistant to AA.
Oh yeah.
And I got through that opiates, and I did it at my house, and then I was like strutting around Cappy's Tavern, which was like the shout out Cappy's, no longer in service, but everyone that worked there, we loved that place. That was like the hometown bar, and I was like strutting around, like after
you were better than.
Well,
right?
just like I told you, I didn't need AA. You know what I mean? Like now I'm back, and I also didn't know what I didn't know.
Yeah.
So I looked at it like the opiates was the problem, the pills were the problem, whatever the case. And when I put those in my rear view, there's nothing wrong with me having a couple Bud Lights at Cappy's Tavern. Like I'm back. I got my muscles back. Like because I was like skinny. I lost like 20 pounds. I puked all day every day for 3 weeks. I was gross.
Yeah, but you never once thought for a second that like you were like an addict.
No.
It never crossed your mind like
I didn't know
I'm
what
an
that
addict
was.
with a disease and a problem.
Right.
Like that was not a thing at that time.
I was uneducated.
Yeah.
And I was uneducated to the fact that like I could have easily went to detox for like a week.
And been fine.
And got medicated and tapered down instead of doing it how I did it, where I just started puking, and in my head, I was like, oh, you're a tough kid. You'll muscle through this. And I didn't know it was going to be 3 weeks of that.
Right.
And it was torture. And then, but when I came out on the other side, it was almost like, see, I told you that I didn't need AA. I told you I was different, like ego shit.
Yeah.
And then I started drinking, and I had done cocaine a handful of times in my life up until that point. I'm in my like early to mid 30s at this point, and now cocaine came in on a big level because I just, what they say, switched seats on the Titanic.
Yep.
And now that was scratching the itch, and I became a full-blown like alcoholic cokehead. And I recognized that there was a serious issue right around 35, 36, but I still didn't really understand how AA worked.
How was your wife with all this and your kids? Like, were they concerned?
My kids were,
how were they affected?
Fairly oblivious. My wife was super supportive, scared.
Yeah.
But
didn't really know what to do either?
Never once was like, fix this or I'm out. Just like, fix it. You know what I mean? Never threatened to leave. Never
just
gave
like
me
you
ultimatums.
deserve more.
She was a soldier, man. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. The void that, we'll get to that point, but the void is deep because like they don't make them like that really anymore. And so she was very supportive, and it was a particular friend. I was just talking to Shannon in the back about this. Shout out my boy Slane. He was a childhood friend, and he was someone that I just respected on a different level. Because like Shannon and I were also speaking about, he just always stayed true to himself. Like I've seen him as a kid. Like people see him as an adult. They see him in the movies and the music, and he's a humble, awesome dude, and everyone sees that. There's that's no mystery. But I saw him in his teenage years, and he was the same way. He was just solid dude.
He's always maintained his authenticity
and never flinched when like there was name calling or people belittling him for being a white rapper from the city. Yeah. He didn't flinch. He stayed true to who he was. He pursued that career because that was his passion, that was his love. And I saw all that. I see things. I saw all that. Maybe just from afar. I wasn't like up close and personal to his story, but I'm from the city. I seen it, I heard it, and I watched him evolve, and I watched those same haters kissing his ass after he was in the movies. And we always just had a mutual respect for each other. And I saw him like maybe on a pedestal based off how he carried himself through all that and then where he landed, and I feel like God put him in my life at a particular time again because he knew I would respect him and follow his lead, so to speak. And we crossed paths at a Little League parade in West Roxbury with our sons. We're both in the parade. And we exchanged numbers. I hit him up to follow up and do some daytime drinking the next day. And he was like 40-something days sober at that point. And so he declined, and he just kind of, I don't remember the exact text, but it was the text that changed the course of my life. Something along the lines of, I'm sober now, keeping it clean. Life has its ups and downs. I forget what he said. He ended it somehow, some way. It was a long time ago, a lot of drugs ago.
But it hit you.
It hit me, and it planted the seed. And then I went out and drank that day, But I circled back to him, and I was just like,
How'd you do that?
Yeah, did you do the whole AA thing, the meetings thing? What was it all about? And he was like, why, do you think you need a meeting? And he jumped into action and was like, I'll take you Wednesday. And this was like on like a Sunday. And needless to say, I made it to that meeting that Wednesday with him. And God, once again, the God of my understanding, put people in my life at that particular meeting that are still in my life today. Shout out to my boy Eddie D. He wound up being my sponsor. And I was like at that point like a 36-year-old father of 3, construction worker, did plenty of criminal stuff on the side. And this kid was a 24-year-old college student, no family, complete opposite of me.
Your sponsor? Wow.
Kid sponsored me for the first 5 years of my journey and saved my life, put my hand in the hand of God, taught me about the 12-step recovery process, because George segued me there. It was him that was put in my life to get me there, but he was still doing music and back and forth in LA.
And early in his own recovery.
Early in his recovery, yeah. I think at that point when I went to that meeting with him, it was day 59, because I went and saw him get his 60-day chip the next day at St. Isabella's or some shit. I forget, but I remember going to support him because I felt like it's the least I could do for him, segueing me to mine. And, I didn't stay sober from that meeting on, but that was the first meeting that I was willing to listen.
You were introduced to recovery.
And I got a chip. I participated for the first time, and
you knew what it felt like.
And then little by little, I kept smashing meetings, and I kept telling my sponsor, Eddie, as I was relapsing, I was like, you'll know I tapped out when you stop seeing me at meetings. I would relapse, but then I'd go back to the meeting. And I just kept fighting to get back to meetings. And I was introduced to the step work. And then eventually, Christmas 2014, I had felt enough pain. And that particular night was my rock bottom going into the next day. And I really jumped in and dedicated myself to this process. And I achieved 20 months of sobriety. I thought I had it. I think anyone who was around at that time that was watching how I moved in AA, they thought I had it too.
Yeah, there's no way this kid's.
And then I went on a family vacation in Maine.
And drank.
And I just had my foot off the gas just a little bit. I pinpoint it. I'm a thinker. And I went back and I was like, okay, I stopped doing 10-step inventory on myself. I was overdoing it. That theme where you can't say no in AA.
You want to get that?
That ain't me. Is that me?
That's you.
I put on vibrator.
Is that him?
I don't know.
I think that there might
Can
be
we edit that out?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Get the phone or what? God. I hate that.
No, so you were in Maine. You thought you had it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And I just looked at Amy after 20 months of records. Now I'm skipping through stuff. Heroin came in, there was overdoses, you know what I mean? There was a lot of wreckage that led me to finally hitting that bottom in 2014. Now 20 months later in Maine, I'm sponsoring 5 guys. I'm doing the deal. I'm dialed in. I'm speaking on commitments. I'm doing everything. And I just looked at her at one point and I just said, I'm going to get a Bud Light tall. Don't give me a hard time. It was the Nate Diaz-Conor McGregor rematch. I'll never forget. I'm a big combat sports fan. And that resulted in me having 4 Bud Light Talls and 10 White Russians in 3 hours. I didn't miss a beat. And it was ugly. And I got high the next day. Put together 6 months of sobriety from those 2 days. Thought I had it again. And on a weak moment, on New Year's Eve, 2016 into 2017, I got into a fight with my daughter. I got into a fight with my wife at the time. And I drove to the bar to drink. And I called a couple of different friends to see who was around. And nobody was really around. And I made it home. And it was 11 o'clock at night. And I thought I made it through without relapsing when I was very close to doing it. And then it dawned on me that a kid I had just taken a treatment, God rest his soul, Jackie, he gave me 4 Suboxones and a cellophane when he got out of my car when I dropped him off at the airport to go to treatment. And I remember that I stuck those in my wife's jewelry box with the intent that if I knew somebody that was sick, I would give them one.
Yeah.
I had no intention of messing with those things, but then it dawned on me they were there, so I threw one under my tongue, and I was like jamboozled. And then I just threw the other 3 in the toilet. I immediately regretted it. It was super compulsive, but I just like flicked channels wrecked in my living room, and I wasn't willing to own that one. I called my sponsor the next day. I called Slane the next day. I told them both. It says in the big book, you got to be rigorously honest with one person. I told 2, but I wasn't willing to start over at that point. Yeah. And I was celebrating anniversaries in August from the main relapse for 2 years. I wasn't willing to own the Suboxone to the world.
Why?
This is why, I'll tell you, because I just went through starting over, and it was such a humbling experience. And I felt like I had just got my credibility back where I was in a position to help others. And I actually prayed on it. And I prayed to God, like, where would I be more of help and effective to my peers? And I felt like where my credibility was, like the 20 months of work I put in, owning the 2-day relapse, and now putting together 6 months going through the steps again, I was in a position to help others, a lot of people. So I wanted to just keep that momentum. So I swept it under the rug at that time. And George and Eddie, I didn't tell them that's what I was doing. I asked them, and we kind of consulted, and they were just kind of like, dude, it's not the worst thing. You know, I think they both knew I'd own it when I was ready, and they weren't going to make me do nothing.
They didn't want to risk you, like, not wanting to start over again and then just blowing shit up even more.
It might have led to a run. Right. I might have been so frustrated.
Right.
We don't know. George commended me down the road for sidestepping it when I did. And I just swept it under the rug for about a year or 2. I was celebrating in August. And then I was sponsoring somebody, and we were just talking. We were deep in the steps, and we were talking about doing 11-step stuff. And I remember, like, all the little sayings, you're only as sick as your secrets and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? At this point, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? My credibility is my credibility now. It's not an issue. People know I'm really trying to help people. And I got a call, hey, you know, we're going to set up your date August. And I just said, yeah, we're going to move it to January 1st this year. And they were like, why? Did you relapse? I said, no, nothing like that. Not recently, but I want to own something. I took an unprescribed medication to seek relief from feelings.
6 months ago, yeah.
And well, no, at that point, it was like 2.5 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I hesitated. But I did own it.
Catching up on that 6 months that you...
Yeah, and then that's what I did. So now, this January 1st that just passed was 9 consecutive years removed from the Suboxone, the 1-day relapse. But I feel like the way I worded it is I've been very relevant in AA for over a decade, because it would have been like 11 years minus the 3 days. But that's just my journey. Everything's
I appreciate your honesty, though.
Yeah.
Like I appreciate that honesty. Like the whole rundown. Like, I had this, I had that. You know, it would be this, but I ended up like circling back, and you know what I mean?
In this brief period, like, my last name's complicated, my sobriety, everything's fucking complicated in my life, right? So why wouldn't my sobriety date be?
Right. It's fitting.
Yeah.
That's up.
You know, and then shout out to you too. Like, I don't want this all to be about me. Like, we got to know each other a little bit in the last couple of days, and like, just to hear your honesty and your authenticity about like how you grew up, and you know what shaped you. And I don't want to air you out unless you were comfortable talking about it, but some of the stuff you share with me, like some leadership shit, like some boss shit that like it's not normal around here to be able to persevere and do what you did and get to where you got without partaking. I'm dancing around it a little bit, but you get what I'm saying. And it was impressive. I said it. That was the word I used yesterday. Impressive on a couple different fronts after hearing some stuff about you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
well deserved.
I'm an open book, so I don't really care about, hiding anything. I feel like I said this in yesterday. We had an interview with somebody yesterday too. Like, you can't expect people to trust you if you're not, like, you can't build connections or trust in people if you're not vulnerable with them. Obviously, you measure it out, and you feel it out, and you know who you can trust and who you can't. And even in simple conversations, you know who has intentions of like, really understanding you as a person, and then, or just like knowing things about you to be able to use them against you. So, yeah.
I mean, you shared some cool shit, and it was impressive. But that was my recovery journey in a nutshell. I'm still sponsoring guys, and one of the things,
you still go to meetings, work a program, all that.
Yeah, my boy George is speaking tomorrow night, and I'm excited to hear him. I've heard him a few times. I've had the opportunity to give him a couple medallions. He's given me a couple medallions, and he's a phenomenal speaker. That's my home group, Rule 62. Shout out Rule 62 in Milton, but I consider it Hyde Park. I don't know how Milton claimed it. It's like on the line. You could throw a rock at the Hyde Park projects, but if you GPS it, it's in St. Pius Church in Milton, and it's Friday night, 7 to 8:15. I love it. I love the format. I love my home group. And, I used to be the living room group back in the day in Quincy, Dorchester. We kind of bounced around. We were in South Boston under the tent during COVID, and then we landed this church, and we kind of broke off from the living room group, and a lot of the main players came over here, and we just started this thing, and it's really evolved. I think we started about 3 years ago. Maybe this June might be 4. There was a handful of us in my friend Amy's backyard, and we discussed like how we were going to do it, and now it's like there's like 200 people every Friday.
That's awesome.
It's a dope meeting. Yeah. I love it. And then we have a Rockland alumni meeting on Tuesdays. I don't get there as much as I should. I do love that meeting. And then there's a men's meeting on Tuesday.
You didn't even mention that, how you work for Rockland.
Oh yeah, I work for Rockland.
By the way, rumor has it. Yeah,
Rockland's in the house. I'm getting there. I'm working my way up.
Yeah.
What am I doing for time?
I know. We got a hard stop. You're good.
So no, so yeah, I guess we have to talk about some uncomfortable shit to get to the Rockland, because that's how it got there.
Yeah.
But I was with my wife for 27 years. I had 4 children with her. I wanted to have another child in sobriety, and my wife was diagnosed with lung cancer in February 2023, and it just rocked me off my axis. You know what I'm saying? Like. She went there for what she thought was like a pulled muscle in her back, and we thought she was going to get muscle relaxers, be back at the crib, no harm, no foul, and it just wasn't the case. I got a phone call that changed my life from the doctor saying that they were going to keep her for the weekend and that they found cancer. And I went and spent the night with her, and by the time Monday she was discharged, and they already identified that it was stage 4 lung, and it was everywhere. And, she was the toughest person I know. She fought like a savage. And this is a woman, a beautiful 46-year-old woman who never smoked. It was horrific.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. And to have to watch that and watch my kids deal with that. And I was big on analytics at that time. Like, I didn't want the doctors to bullshit me. And I asked them, what am I looking at here? And on the phone, not in front of Amy. I never wanted to scare her. But they said, it would be like 5 years max, and probably 1 year realistically with how far advanced it is. And that was the sentence we got, basically. And it was almost true to their word, a year. It was 13 months flat from the diagnosis. I lost her, and it was March 21st, 2024. In 2 days, it'll be 2 years. And I had a lot of support through her being sick, from friends and family and Alcoholics Anonymous. And I was in local 327 for 26 years, the Carpenters Union. They rallied around me like family. Shout out 327. They are my brotherhood and my family. I'll always bleed union. George, like I said, he's like my brother, and he always advocated that maybe I'd be good at this particular position when he was opening up his facility, and he was actually talking about maybe hiring one of my other buddies, but he described the job, and I paid attention, and then I paid attention to him just talking, and he spoke so highly of Eddie McGrath. Shout out Eddie McGrath, my brother, and Rockland and what they do over there, that I believe that God speaks to me through my gut. That's how my higher power works. I gotta suck it in. Speaking of that, and shout out Maddie for the direction. I just, something in my gut just told me to call Eddie. Like in April, right after I lost her, I didn't know what I was gonna do. How am I gonna? I used to have to be out the door at 5 a.m. for the union job. Now I gotta take a little. She was 6 at the time. I gotta get her to school. How am I gonna pull this off?
Yeah, and she's just starting school too at that age.
Yeah.
So you got a long road ahead.
She had completed
first grade. She's going into second.
Well, she was finishing up first grade when it happened, and I had to finish the year of first grade. And then, I discussed the position. I reached out to Eddie. We had a great talk, and he knew what I was dealing with over the course of the year because of mutual friends. Him and I were like acquaintances that became friends over the course of while my wife was sick, and he had reached out multiple times. If you need anything, call me. Like, that's just who Eddie McGrath is. Like, someone who truly cares and shows it on levels. And like, I'm telling you, you would never know that if I didn't, because he doesn't talk about all the people he really helps. That's the truth. He's a high character individual. And so I reached out to him. We came to an agreement. I started, Allie Fitz, I love her. She like took me under her wing in the beginning when I was just like a union carpenter who always wore my recovery on my sleeve, but I didn't really know what the position entailed. And Eddie like gave me the quick version. Allie kind of coached me up over the first few months, and I kind of got in the swing of it, man. And now here I am. This May will be 2 years I've been with Rockland. It's translated well for me and hopefully for Rockland. I love being part of the team, being part of the family. They're great. I really believe we're helping a lot of people. I'm able to connect dots. I just had a conversation with the National Grid EAP this morning about a member that he sent to me that I grew up with in the neighborhood, and it just lights my spirit up when I hear how well he's doing. You know, he came to me with no knowledge of recovery, just knew what I had been through.
And trusted you.
Trusted me. And we placed him. He came. He went through Rockland. He had a great experience. He had sober living, and this is like an established, married foreman for National Grid. And he got discharged, and he's still sober. When I caught him, he was on a walk, and he was expressing such gratitude for the program, for Rockland, for everything. And it just lights my spirit up to hear that. And Paul, the National Grid EAP, and we got to talk about that today, and just – that's just one of many people I've got to witness over the course of the couple of years I've been with Rockland now. And
it can be so rewarding.
Yeah. And it's a grind. It's tough because you're dealing with people at their sickest level. So some of them want the help. They want the help. And then it comes down to pulling the trigger and taking the action after their willingness was there on Thursday. And now here comes Friday morning and they disappear for a month. And that's just, I've gotten used to that aspect of it. And the truth is,
stay at it.
And people die, though. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like I remember my friend Michelle said it when I was after. She's like, I was like, I'm going to go back out. She was like, okay, don't die.
Yeah.
And that's real. People are dying from this thing. But I'm very proud to work at Rockland. I'm very proud to still be an active union member. I'm lucky enough and be blessed to have a ton of help with the kids.
I was just going to ask, and like, it's a little bit of a pivot, but it's something that I'm wondering, and it's a little bit of a touchy question, but how did you figure out how to be, such an involved, seeming to be great father without having had that figure in your life, and now doing it without their mom?
I love that question. I'm gonna segue to my first resentment I ever wrote. It was on my father who abandoned me, and I just wrote his name. And when I did the turnarounds, when I got to the part afraid, I wrote, I'm afraid that drugs and alcohol are making me as irrelevant to my kids as my dad was to me, right? And it meant so much to me to be a good dad. And I didn't have one to figure it out from and learn from, but I had good people in my life. My Uncle Emmett, God rest his soul, I lost him the December before Amy, like 3 months before, and he was like the closest thing I had to a father figure. His name was Emmett Lewis. He was a Marine. He did 2 tours in Vietnam. He was my hero. And I called him Uncle Emmett, but there was no blood relation. He was just a gentleman from Brookline that was good friends with my mother that watched her struggle to raise me, and he just stuck around and spoiled me on Christmases and birthdays, and then when I became a young adult and I had a few bucks, like, he never paid for another dinner for the last probably 30 years because I just loved him for sticking around when he didn't have to. And he showed me that unconditional love. My mother always showed me unconditional love, so I learned what unconditional love was, and I was excited to be a dad. And then I was excited to be a dad, and then I was very excited to also have a son at some point, because having to learn about what it was like to be a man on the street and figure it out and learn from the street kids and make mistakes and learn from those mistakes, I feel like I kind of figured it out, and I wanted to see when I give that information to another young man at an early age what that looks like.
Like, did you crack the code? Yeah.
And it was like I watched guys like Mike Teed, God rest his soul, a kid that was like younger than me, a year younger than me from the neighborhood, but his father was like a very well-respected guy from Hyde Park, and he had another brother, Sean. But Mike meant a lot to me in my life because we were friends, and I just watched the way he carried himself. He was just a stand-up kid. He had the low polo hat and slick, and the girls liked him. And he was witty, he was tough, and all the stuff that you wanted to be as a kid from the city. And we lost him to this disease a few years back, and it was guys like Mike and different guys that I just like took little parts from what I saw and how they carry themselves and made it my own, so to speak, with and because of that I was excited, and now I just know like I'm going to continue to fall short and make mistakes as a dad, especially a single dad, especially with the girls. Like, I still don't even know how to comb her hair. I
have no idea what I'm doing with my daughter either. So.
Dude, it's like...
They give you a run for your money.
Well, thank God I got the 2 older ones because they're super helpful with, like, picking out stuff, and whether it's, like, helping get her, pick out the right clothes for whatever event, or her hair, makeup, stuff like that. But you can imagine how sassy my 8-year-old is, having a 25-year-old and a 20-year-old sister. Like, she's fun though. Like, people fight over hanging with my little one because she's so fun. She's really got a big personality. And my son's like quiet. He's reserved. He's talking about maybe going in the Air Force in September. His grandfather, Amy's father, was in the Air Force. We'll see how that plays out. As much as like, I think it would be a good move for him, I'm gonna miss him. You know what I mean? Like, he's like my dude. His room's been like 6 feet from mine his whole life. He's gonna be 18 in April, and I've thought about, the whole time I've been encouraging it, and now the reality's setting in. Like, wow, this might happen.
Yeah, you're like, never mind.
Might not have him right there, and that's a little crazy. But my other 2 girls are in college. One of them's in Mass Bay. One of them's she did a year at UNH. She did a little time at UMass Boston. She's circling back, and she's gonna go back to UMass Boston in September. So,
so they're all,
we're figuring it out.
Yeah, doing well.
We're figuring it out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really powerful.
Yeah. So, one day at a time. Yeah. Saturday will be tough.
Yeah.
Saturdays will be tough. Her birthday's notoriously tough. My wedding anniversary's tough. But she would want me to be happy. She wouldn't want me to, like, pull the covers over my head and pour me or anything like that. And I've been given an opportunity to have a good job that allows me a flexible schedule and be in a position to help people, interact with people, meet people like you, great people like you, and continue this. And the more I do this work, the more people I meet, in one contact leads to another, and the more facilities I see, the more prepared I am to help others. And I think early on too, like, there was some speculation about like the Rolodex is like your greatest asset. I just feel like I'm such an open book. Like, if you come to me and you're like, I need, anyone with I need to help someone with an eating disorder, instead of, I don't want to be the middleman, I'm just going to like give you here you go.
Yeah.
Because that way you have it, you can help out. I just want to help.
Yeah.
Honestly.
How else are we helping if we're gatekeeping?
Yeah. So I don't know if that's how everyone does it. I'm still only a couple years into this, but I think the fact that I am genuine, I'm not full of shit. I've been from the same general area my whole life. You can fact check anything on here.
One thing I've learned in this field of work is that if you do the right thing will continue to happen.
Yeah.
And it's guaranteed. And I've watched it and I've seen it happen, and that's what I've learned, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. And I think that that's exactly what you're doing, and I think you shouldn't stop either.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Where are we at for time? And I don't want you to be late for your meeting, because Eddie will probably get a glance of this, and we don't.
No, Eddie ain't involved with that meeting. No, Eddie, mind your business. No. I don't know.
No, we got like 15 minutes left. And do you got any questions for him?
Do we have to? Is there like a group in here at 2:00?
Yeah.
Okay, because then I still have to. Would they mind letting me pack up while they do group?
We're not gonna get yelled at. We're not gonna get in trouble.
All right. I get nervous. I don't really think I have many questions. Actually, I had something. I forget. I had a question that came up, and
you're not on your shit lately.
I know. Well, I'm a busy
gonna
guy.
need you to step it up.
Yeah, figure it out.
Yeah, I gotta step it up. I know. It's tough. Fuck, there was something that earlier that
you're probably still stuck on the fact that we didn't know anything about Ireland.
No,
he's still judging us in his head.
He's still researching more info to throw in our face.
It's just territorial, because Ireland is mainly, like Catholic and independent, whereas Northern Ireland stayed with England. So Northern Ireland is like an extension of England.
Isn't he so smart? That's my friend. I'm so proud.
It's impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, IRA stuff.
I just had the opportunity. I had never like attended or anything with the Southie Parade, but the union, the Carpenters Union, had a float. So like they're so supportive of my career over here in Rockland. But I still go to all my union meetings. I was at a political union roast in Dedham Friday with the boys sitting at a union table, and they invited me to go, and my children, to go on a float for the Southie Parade. So
that's awesome.
It was cold,
Yeah.
but it was cool. Like my daughter and my son, my youngest daughter and my son were up there, and we were on a float, and it was a fun time. It was a crazy, crazy day. I just wish it wasn't, as chilly as it was. I don't think I quite dressed for it.
I know. What's up with this weather lately? Like, it's like today's freezing. Yesterday was freezing. It does not feel like spring at all.
And I think I parked like a mile away.
I know. It's an Uber to your car.
Seriously.
I can't.
I don't know.
Matt set you up because he's mad. I'm telling you.
Dude, we audible today. We had different plans. We were supposed to go there, then here, then I was just all over the place. But it's all good.
Yeah.
I landed where I was supposed to.
That's it. And your message is going to be heard, and it matters.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And you know what I want to put out there too is because some people hear this, and then they put in perspective some stuff that might have gone on in their lives, and they like downplay it. But everything's relative. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't, your shit doesn't have to be as tragic or as crazy as my shit. Your shit is your shit, but it still affects you. And one thing I am an advocate for, as far as like behavioral health and meds and stuff, there's like that stigma in AA. I'm gonna mess with this wobbly table. And that's they're like oh I was diagnosed with this, that, and the other thing, and then I did the steps, and now I don't need meds. That's great, but people who need antidepressant meds or need whatever meds, and if a doctor who's educated in that field thinks after you being honest and authentic in your conversation with him that you need to take those and those should be prescribed, you should take those.
Yeah.
Okay? Don't listen to AA doctors that just think that they've been around a little while and they should tell you. That's a very important thing or people who are on meds don't want to come to AA out of fear of being judged, and that's not right either. It's open to anybody who's willing to get help, and the 12 steps are available for anyone who wants to do them. And if you need to take antidepressant meds or anti-bipolar meds or whatever it is to take the edge off a mental illness that's blocking you from God so that you can wrap your head around it and process the steps, that's what you should do. That's very important, and like people struggle with mental health and they struggle with their own stuff. But everything's relative, like I said, Yeah,
and it's definitely not talked about enough. It's not normalized enough, and there's tons of opinions on medication. I have my own opinions on medication and where it's necessary, where it's needed, and where it's not, and but there are points in time where it's absolutely crucial. Like I agree, even if it's temporary. Like I've talked to clients that are like dead set against medication, but like can't get a week or two clean because they can't sit with their anxiety in res or in detox, and it's like just take the medication that's going to help you get through the next 2 weeks and then revisit. You don't need to, you know what I mean? So it's definitely not talked about enough, and there's definitely still a stigma around medication. And again, there are opinions on it. I think that a lot of times like things can be worked through without needing medication, but there are absolutely times where like medication is necessary. Yeah, for sure.
I just remembered what I thought of. It's nothing important at all.
I can't wait for this.
He's so awkward.
You were talking about Slane, and I was like, oh, I just saw him in a movie recently.
Which one?
The Running Man.
Oh yeah,
he's barely in that.
Yeah,
but I was like, I know that guy.
At the same week that came out though, he was in another movie, King Ivory.
Oh, okay.
Highly recommend it.
Maybe I'll check that out.
Yeah,
phenomenal movie.
You can see any movie he wants to at any time.
I work at the movie theater.
Yeah.
I could give you a slew of movies that he was in. I mean, Running Man, King Ivory, those are the most recent ones. The Town, obviously, Gone Baby Gone.
Baby Gone.
He was in The Joker too. The movie didn't do too well, but he had a great role in it. He played a great role.
I was just watching that recently.
And then there are plenty of other ones like By the Gun. That's a Boston-based movie with Harvey Keitel, Ben Bonds.
I haven't seen any of these movies besides The Town, I think.
He crushes.
I'm not a movie watcher.
Look at Killing Them Softly. It was
Brad Pitt.
He had a one-on-one scene with Brad Pitt. He was sitting across from Brad Pitt like this at a coffee shop. I mean, he's lived a charmed life, and he just got done touring with La Coca. He just did 3 straight weeks in Europe. He just got back and settling in, and yeah, he's the man, dude. He's family. Cool. You know, I spend like summer vacations with him in Maine. I'm the plug. Slane, you next.
Yeah.
Hop on here, Slane.
Yeah, he's the man. I'm sure he would. Because just awesome. Like I feel like I'm like a walking, talking testimony of the 12-step recovery works, and why wouldn't I want to advocate and put that out there into the universe for somebody to benefit? I know he's the same way. So anytime he has an opportunity to speak on a platform about his experience and how it may help others, he'll jump at that opportunity. Because that, just like I said, Eddie McGrath, high quality, high character individual. So is George. He's always willing to help. And you know, during that crucial time when I was really going through it, like I was spending Christmases with him and his family. They opened the door, because normally we would do it like at our place or something, and that just wouldn't have hit the same without Amy there. And he recognized that, and
he stepped in. Yeah.
And I'm blessed to have a lot of people like that. The Amarus, you know what I mean? A family from Dedham that I went to high school with, Chris and Trina. They were high school sweethearts. Our children are similar in age. They've hosted Thanksgiving the last 2 years to me and my family, and their daughter Maya and my daughter Vanessa are super close, 5 days apart. And you know, I'm very blessed in that regard. I don't think I would have got to this point without the love and support of all my peers in the community.
For sure. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to get here today through all the confusion. Absolutely. And through all the madness.
Yeah. we'll be on top of it next time, and really on top of it. I'll clear up more of my storage.
Can you guys validate my $2 meter?
I have $2. Yeah, and we're so back.
We're so back.
Yeah,
you're helping us kick this thing back off, because we've
Definitely.
been so neglectful of this poor podcast, and it means so much to us, and it does. Like, I get everywhere I go, I'm like experiencing people like, dude, your podcast is great, like keep going. Like, so you know, people are watching.
I get stopped and people say that they like it. It's pretty nice.
Messages are being heard, and it doesn't matter what. Like yesterday we had somebody on, they don't work a program at all, and like they talked about like what relapse looks like for them, what, you know, recovery, when, you know, recovery is happening, looks like for them. Today people hear the message about like the fellowship, and it's important, you know, because nobody should give up regardless of what stage they're in, or if they're in any stage at all. So I think it's really important.
Awesome. We got to get you my other boy, mathematics. He'll crush on this.
Oh, hell yeah. We'll get mathematics.
We got mathematics and Slane. They're up next. Those are my hitters.
Yeah. Show.
Get a couple of my hitters over here.
Yeah. Give them my number.
You got that.
Just wanted, before we end it, got a couple things. Direct message to friends of the program. I'm celebrating next month, so.
You are?
I am.
Nice.
So if anyone wants to come, please message me directly. I'm not going to state it out here, but if anyone wants to.
You should. Okay. Will you text it to me then?
Yeah, I'll text it to you for sure.
Celebrating what?
2 years.
Congratulations, bro.
Thanks, man. Also, I'm starting to produce comedy shows, so if you like to laugh and want to go laugh someplace, we have some shows coming up.
Dave comedy or real comedy?
I'm not doing comedy.
Okay.
No, I'm producing co-producing the shows with my friend Kadar.
Okay, nice.
So if you want to do that, also reach out to me.
Okay.
At bball-dave69 on Instagram.
Cool. And then just to make sure everybody's aware, we have our alumni event next week.
True.
At Mix 360. It's a 90s R&B karaoke night. It's going to be a fucking vibe. I can't wait.
There's also midget wrestling this Friday at Mix.
Let's go.
Is it really?
Mix 360. Yeah.
Who's doing that?
I don't know, but a couple of the guys are going.
Oh.
I'm not going. I have work. Constantly working.
Okay, well, you're going to be at the alumni event? You're an alumni.
Possibly. What day is it?
Thursday.
Tonight?
No, next Thursday.
Maybe.
Okay.
See what I can do.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Goodbye.
Bye.